The world of herbs and spices is something that we need not be ignorant about. It is phenomenal. And in China and India and the Middle East, these substances are considered drugs without side effects. How amazing is that?
Hey everybody, Dr. Axe here. Welcome to another podcast. And today I have one of my best friends on, Jordan Rubin. Jordan and I have known each other for probably going on almost 12 years now. And Jordan is somebody that when my mom was struggling with a major health crisis and cancer, his book, The Maker's Diet, inspired us to help change her diet and help her heal naturally. So Jordan has been a friend and a mentor, and now he's my business partner. We co-founded the company Ancient Nutrition together. But today I'm really excited. We're going to be talking about ancient principles for healing and our top 10 ancient superfoods. So we'll talk about ancient superfoods for healing today. And so Jordan, man, excited to dive in with you.
Always a fun topic.
So, and as I said, Jordan has, and a lot of one of the things, I just want to talk about Jordan for just a second before we dive in, but Jordan is known as being one of the top formulators in the world for herbal supplements and nutritional supplements. And so if people are looking for, different things to help support their body, he is one of the best formulators in the world. Also, he is the New York Times bestselling author of The Maker's Diet. He's co-founded a couple of nutrition companies, and he also has helped, I know, hundreds of people personally, or actually probably tens of thousands of people across the world heal naturally using food as medicine. And so anyways, excited to, Jordan, we're going to dive into a lot of stuff today. But all right, let's talk about, I'm going to dive right into our top 10 ancient superfoods. Before I do that though, I'd like to ask you, today, a lot of these ancient remedies and ancient superfoods are making a resurgence. Why do you think they're just now making a resurgence? And why do you think they got lost in the past?
It is interesting. We were talking this morning, about a certain fermented beverage that is super popular now. I can remember 10 years ago, it was hot, but it really originated 85 years ago. And I can't answer that other than the fact that people are really waking up to the fact that this wisdom of nature meeting modern science is a real thing. And I just love the fact that every single week, more published studies are being released on superfoods, nutrients, probiotics. It's just a great time, not only to be alive, but to be espousing this information. And also being that this nation and world has changed so drastically in our immune system awareness, I think that's a big part. Everyone is looking for a way to stay healthy and fight off what is out there that they're scared of, to say it delicately.
Yeah. And one of the things, Jordan, I always love about you is you are always one of the pioneers and on the cutting edge of what people should be doing. I remember reading your book, The Maker's Diet. And I also remember, when we first met, you talking about all these foods you were launching, from kale chips to fermented beverages like kombucha to fermented herbals. And now, just as of a couple of years ago, those things are becoming, they were popular later on, but you were already in the cutting edge of making sure people were getting these superfoods in your diet. I think a big part of that was you use some of these foods, the probiotic rich foods, organ meats, and other things to help yourself heal, right? Can you I know we've talked about this before and some people might be aware of this, but talk a little bit about your journey about beating 2 life-threatening illnesses.
Sure. Well, it's so long ago now. In 1998, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease and 18 other illnesses, from rheumatoid arthritis to chronic fatigue syndrome. I had candidiasis, really horrible fungal infection, bacterial, viral, prostate issues, kidney problems, liver problems, eye problems. I was 110 pounds and in a wheelchair, down to 104 actually, and I'm about 6 feet tall. And I went to 70 doctors, couldn't find an answer until 2 years into my disease, when I literally wanted to die and felt like I was dying every single minute. I met a man who taught me how to eat like the Bible. And the best way to describe it is it's a real food diet. And I was introduced to wild grass-fed meats and cultured raw grass-fed dairy products, and more veggie juices and fermented foods, glandulars or organ meats, as you're talking about. And in really 40 days, I was transformed. 12 weeks, I was healthier than ever. And that has now been 24 years ago. And a crazy thing, kind of 10 years into that journey, after writing a book on cancer, I was diagnosed with a pretty severe form of metastatic cancer. And once again, I relied on God and call it natural remedies to heal. And he worked a miracle in my life once again. And what doctors said was impossible. In fact, they said I had a 100% chance of dying in 90 days if I didn't go the conventional route. I was completely healed. And the Lord has allowed me with both situations, inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, and also cancer, to help others overcome disease. And see, just as we're talking, Josh, this ray of sunlight is coming into my room, and it's like illuminating my body. But it's so awesome. When I was sick, I visited all kinds of doctors, and they had a lot of diplomas on the wall, and they went to prestigious institutions, very smart. But I was desperate to find one person who actually had the disease that I did and overcame it. Not someone who was smart or knew something, but someone who had been there, done that. And so that's really been a blessing to me, is not just giving health information, but the greatest deficiency people have is hope. And I feel like more than anything, I'm a purveyor of hope versus a dispenser of health information, but I love to do both.
Yeah, Jordan, it's incredible. I mean, overcoming those, again, life-threatening illnesses, especially when at the time and today, most doctors would say that is near impossible or impossible to overcome those. And I know with your faith in God and your the wisdom he gave you on how to eat using food as medicine, you're able to beat those, which is awesome. And so let's jump into these foods, some of these foods that you and I both recommend for healing for so many people today. Let's start off with one that this might surprise some people, but I know you and I are both big fans of organ meats and glandulars. Talk about these, because these definitely faded out. I mean, hardly anybody consumed them, but just now we're starting to see these creep back in popularity. Why is that? And what are some of your favorites?
Well, first of all, if you look at the most nutrient dense foods on the planet, it is undoubtedly liver as number one. And our parents used to eat liver and onions probably once a week. I don't like the taste of liver, and we hardly ever ate it growing up in my house, and hardly anyone eats it today. But it's not only rich in vitamin D, vitamin A, omega-3 fats, but every single important B vitamin and key blood building minerals are found in not only liver, but all glandulars. Early bodybuilders, desiccated, which is dried liver, was kind of the number one supplement they used. Early health food stores, liver was a standby product that people consumed very often. And so I think when it comes to glandulars, they are nutrient dense, but also, and this is most important, in traditional Chinese medicine, as you've pointed out many times, glandulars are as much a part of the repertoire of a TCM practitioner as herbs, foods, etc. And they would recommend a gland to correspond to the body. So if you had kidney weakness, you consume kidney. If you had issues with blood sugar, you consume pancreas. Some of the first pharmaceuticals, cortisol was developed from a glandular, as was many other things. And I mentioned this to you before, Josh, but it's so cool. My grandmother on my dad's side had pernicious anemia and was hospitalized, and her treatment was raw liver in the hospital. And this was 80 years ago. It wasn't 8,000 years ago. So I think glandulars, if you can consume them in food source or supplement source, they're nutrient dense and they have compounds that help restore the body. Adrenal, thyroid, you name it, they're all beneficial. And I've just been so excited to see more and more interest in these glandulars, but they're amazing. And you can buy liver. Some people like chicken liver better. You can mix it with some ground beef or rice. Heart is another. Heart kind of tastes like a hot dog a little bit. So those glandulars from organic or grass-fed animal sources are awesome.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, the ones that I've consumed the most, liver is by far the one. I mean, I've consumed the most of, and a lot of times I'll go and just buy some chicken liver, and then I'll just eat a little bit before a meal, or you can saute it up with some onions and a little bit of coconut oil. And I think that's a great way to have, some chicken liver, which tastes a little better than beef, but also you can buy beef liver capsules, those sort of things, super healthy. So again, Jordan and I are both big fans of organ meats. Liver is also known as being sort of nature's B vitamin. It has all of these B vitamins, which really support your liver and cells, just sort of fueling your body. So again, and also it's a natural blood builder. Jordan mentioned pancreas and spleen as well, and heart. Those also are great natural blood builders. And so that's a big thing we're missing today, is these organ meats. And as Jordan mentioned, if you compare them in nutrient density, even to green leafy vegetables and other things, in many cases, some of them will outperform those. So they're right up there with the most nutrient dense foods in the world with, again, the green leafy vegetables and seaweed and other things. I think that are really, it's just really important to remember. And again, if you don't want to eat it, then hey, you can go ahead and take this in a supplement form, which is fantastic. Jordan, one of the things I know you and I, of course, are big fans of is bone broth. And, I think about, you obviously have formulated an incredible product or you've formulated products that have things like bone broth in it and other powerful superfoods. But talk to me about bone broth. One of the things I've heard you train people on, and you first brought to light when you and I were having a conversation, is all of the collagen found in bone broth, but also some of those other nutrients, that family of glucosaminoglycans, and really balancing out muscle proteins with collagen. To talk about why that's important, and talk to us about bone broth.
It's so amazing, this concept of balancing your proteins. It seems like groundbreaking information, but in the old days, when someone would consume an animal, they couldn't afford to consume white meat chicken only, or tenderloin of beef, or even ground beef and other items. They had to consume the whole animal. When I say the whole animal, the majority of it was in the form of a broth or a soup. Our grandparents, great-grandparents did that. And it was said to have a protein sparing effect, meaning even though you're not eating meat, your body still stays strong. And I remember for years telling people, if you want to heal your gut, if you want to restore your health, reduce inflammation, go on a broth cleanse or broth fast. They would come out maybe losing a few pounds, but being very strong. I've also told many people and undergone juice cleanses myself, and I lose a tremendous amount of weight, like 18 pounds in 10 days, some ridiculous thing. And I look like I'm thin as a rail. Now, veggie juices are great, but there's something special about broth and what it does for the body. It takes care of the parts that you don't see in the mirror. It's your skeletal system, your connective tissue, which is so critical all throughout the body. It does contain collagen. It does contain, depending on the type of animal and the type of body part, contains glucosamine, chondroitin, hyaluronic acid. It's amazing for the skin. And it has these soluble proteins that are almost like getting an IV. They're so friendly to the body. But if you would consume meat in the old days, you consumed a corresponding amount of broth. And I think the ratio was 50 to 75% meat, which builds muscle, to 25 to 50% broth that builds connective tissue. And last night I was on the phone with a mutual friend of ours who trains top NFL quarterbacks. And I was explaining to the group that when you consume connective tissue proteins, collagen and broth, you are going to allow your body to avoid the plethora of what they call non-contact injuries. I mean, today, Josh, we've been watching sports a long time, but how often have we seen somebody jogging on turf, stubbing their toe and then pulling a hamstring or tearing an ACL? It's absolutely amazing what's going on. Tommy John surgery with the ligament in your elbow, never at this level before. So I believe that since we're the first brothless generation, that if every child had a broth break, I like that, broth break in school instead of a fluoride treatment, and every nursing home made broth standard treatment, the kids would be stronger, build better bones, and the elderly would walk better, and everyone in between would do better. We've seen in the recent years, Kobe Bryant, years ago in his last season, the team doctor for the Lakers had every place that Kobe went on the road, the chef cooked old-fashioned 24-hour bone broth so that Kobe could play a 20th season in the NBA for his joints, ligaments, and tendons. I got to tell you, there's nothing that broth can do. In fact, an old proverb is, good broth can raise the dead. Not sure if that's actually accurate, but pretty high praise.
Yeah, I love that. And as you're saying, Jordan, you look at these professional athletes, Tom Brady, if you read about his diet, he's getting collagen and bone broth every day. You know, when I was studying and reading his diet, same thing. Again, you're looking at a lot of athletes now who are really aware of this because of all of the injuries. And really it makes sense. You know, you're supporting that area of the body. We talked about this principle earlier, like supports like, right? If you want to support your kidneys, eat glandulars like kidneys. If you want to support your liver, eat liver of animals. But also if you want to support your joint, all the areas collagen makes up our skin, hair, nails, bones, our gut lining, all of these areas, you've got to be getting collagen in your diet. The best way to get collagen is via bone broth, whether it's a powder form. I know for myself, every morning for breakfast, I essentially do a collagen/bone broth smoothie. I do a big heaping scoop of a bone broth, powder that's a chocolate or vanilla or a turmeric. And then after that, I'll do some berries and coconut milk and whatnot. But with that, again, I get collagen via bone broth in my diet every single day. And especially looking out for chicken broth for everybody. I want to mention that one specifically because chicken broth contains glucosamine, chondroitin, hyaluronic acid, and all these other nutrients we've talked about. So again, chicken broth as a bone broth powder, or just making homemade broth and buying it. We want to be getting lots and lots of broth. And again, important for everybody of all ages. We talk about bone health. Again, Jordan, I know you mentioned that. I mean, collagen makes up a lot of your bones. There's more collagen in your bones than calcium. So we all need to be aware of this and get more of this in our diet. All right. One of the next superfoods I want to talk about here are vegetables. Okay. So vegetables, what are some of your favorite vegetables that you think people need to be eating for healing? And you can talk about anything. You can also talk about seaweeds and other things like that. But what are some of your favorite that really you think that are considered maybe some of the super vegetables that are more nutrient dense and more therapeutic than others?
Absolutely. I'm going to use the term vegetable liberally and talk a little bit about vegetables, fruits. There's a little confusion out there on what is what.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's just say, but I'll throw out some that are now becoming popular that have been around for a long time. Moringa is a great one. And we're right now growing a lot of tropical plants, very much focused on perennials. And moringa is a great perennial plant. It's known as the tree of life, grows indigenous in India and Africa. And it is said to have dozens of times more nutrients, vitamin C, zinc, B vitamins, iron, than say spinach, et cetera. It also has a powerful growth hormone called zeatin. Zeatin was originally discovered in corn, but it's actually in moringa. And Josh, we've been harvesting our moringa leaves that we're growing on our indoor portion of our farm. They grow back in 2 weeks, just as vibrant as ever. It's truly amazing to watch. And moringa tastes good. It's a little peppery. It's great to have as an herbal infusion. You can powder it. You can put it in a salad. Moringa is amazing. Another vegetable group that I love are sprouts. Sprouts or microgreens are rock stars. You could take a little onion microgreen, which is grown from an onion seed, and it tastes like you bit into an entire onion. I love broccoli sprouts, any of the cruciferous sprouts. I don't personally eat broccoli and cauliflower raw because I just don't feel like it's very digestible, but these sprouts are super digestible. Seed sprouts like sunflower sprouts are amazing. And then of course, I love the lettuce that you can get that's pre-washed, pre-packed, the frisee, the escarole, those type of green leafies are great. And I'm a fan of kale, certainly, collards, et cetera. But I think really the rapidly growing greens that are in sprout form are amazing. And I really like some of these leaves, including moringa, but I've really been experimenting with consuming a lot of different, I'll call them fast growing leaves before the fruit comes on. It's funny, we don't consider these vegetables, but there are so many out there literally just growing in the wild. I also love onions, some from the Allison family. Think of garlic, onion, spring onion. But yeah, vegetables are amazing. There's so many good ones. Certainly carrots, peppers, radishes, horseradish. Yeah, you don't get me started. I love my veggies, but I say if someone's listening, eat some more sprouts. They truly are a super food. And you did mention sea veggies, seaweed like kelp and kombu and wakame, et cetera. They are amazing, especially as a source of iodine, which is rare in the diet these days.
Yeah, Jordan, these are awesome. Again, I think moringa, we're going to continue to see growing in popularity here in the future. I love the sprouts. And I'm with you. I just want to, just as a note here, guys, yeah, Jordan and I both are really feel like eating a lot of the raw cruciferous vegetables is really hard to digest, but those are great cooked. You can steam them, you can saute them up or bake them, cover them in some coconut oil, bake them in the oven is a great thing to do. Jordan, just a few others I've heard you talk about. I love hearing you talk about watercress, right? That's a vegetable I know I've heard you talk about there as well. Any just a few other favorite. Well, I guess we'll head on more of some of the other fruits here in a minute too. What's avocado?
Watercress, by the way, avocado is a fruit technically, but watercress is like a microgreen, and it grows literally in rivers and streams kind of all over. We had it growing wild on one of our farms, but it is the best of all cruciferous vegetables. It's got the best of broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels, all combined. So I really recommend it. It is very strong. And in the old days, 50 years ago, people used to eat watercress sandwiches. I used to hear about that, but it is an absolute powerhouse. And it is very much, I would say, ignored in the nutritional world. And avocado, call it whatever you will. I eat it every day. And what's great, we do grow indoor plants and outdoor here in Tennessee. And I have saved every avocado seed that I've eaten over the last year and a half. I won't throw any away. I'll even go to visit people and grab the pits because we have hundreds of avocado plants now, but avocados are amazing sources of potassium, of fiber, great sources of fat, vitamin E. It's not easy to get vitamin E, but avocados are loaded. So I can't get enough of them.
And I'll mention this, my daughter, Arwen, her favorite food is by far avocados. So she,
awesome.
Oh yeah. She, I mean, the amount of avocados she eats, we tried to give her peas and she thought it was the grossest thing she's ever had. But anyways, avocado, she's a fan of. All right. So let's talk about fruit specifically. I know you're a big fan of berries specifically. What are some of your favorite berries? What are the benefits and why?
I'll give you some normal berries that are easy to find, and then I'll go into some of our exotic fruits that we're trying just to pique your interest. But I love all berries. I think that raspberries and blackberries are great. I actually like berries or small fruits that have the largest seeds. I'm a huge fan of muscadines or scuppernongs. Muscadines grow in the South. They have a very thick skin that's loaded with ellagic acid, which is a powerful immune system and anti-cancer compound. They're high in proanthocyanins, which is proanthocyanidins, which is an anthocyanin polyphenolic antioxidant. Their seeds are excellent as well, and they're edible. Raspberries, I love all kinds of raspberries, black, yellow, red, pink, you name it. Strawberries are fine. Some of the berries that I also like are Cape gooseberries. Those are pretty interesting. They're also called golden berries. I was eating a chocolate covered golden berry from one of our favorite snack brands the other day, but there's some really, really great berries that nobody's ever heard of, or at least we don't talk about much. Huckleberries, goji berry, both in red and black variety, are absolutely amazing. Black currants, Josh, nobody talks about these, but black and red currants are amazing for stimulating the mitochondria to produce more energy, the energy powerhouse in the cells. Also great for the skin. And black currants, if they're dried, they're kind of like raisins, but they're absolutely amazing. And then from a fruit perspective, I love to eat pineapple and oranges and mangoes like everybody, but there are some really cool exotic fruits that over the last 10 years have been popular. Noni is the most disgusting smelling and tasting thing I've ever seen, but they're amazing for you. All kinds of exotic fruits from Southeast Asia are truly amazing. I like not only noni, but there's other sort of exotic fruits. One of my favorite is called jabuticaba, which is a Brazilian grape that is being grown now in the southern United States, particularly in the Miami area. And mangosteen and all the varieties of mangosteen, called the queen of fruits. And really one I think that is commonly available but not appreciated enough is pomegranate. Pomegranate is so amazing. It is popularly grown in the Middle East. It has been for a long time. And here's a cool fact. A pomegranate has approximately 613 seeds. And that's how many commandments there are in the Bible. How amazing is that?
Wow.
Just think about that for a moment.
Wow.
Also, here's a couple cool fruits. Dragon fruit or pitaya is getting very popular. That is awesome. And then cactus pear or prickly pear, which is a red fruit that contains the same antioxidants found in beets called betalains, also are very amazing. And then I'll throw another one. You like this one too, fig. Figs are awesome. And again, underappreciated, but they're great topically and orally. I like them dried, but fresh, which they're not available for very long in a season, but they're amazing. And then last but not least, this last week, I consumed probably 20 passion fruit. Passion fruit are also kind of rare in the US, but in Hawaii and Polynesia, they're amazing. Each passion fruit has 200 seeds. They're edible, crunchy, high in fiber, protein, and fats. And it's a sour fruit that has high vitamin C, and lutein for the eyes. So I could go on, but go out and get some passion fruit. It is pretty awesome. And like its name, it may stir up some, emotions in you. So go for it.
Yeah, hey, one of the things I think it's just great for everybody to do is just try some new things, right?
Yes.
I mean, we're living in an amazing world today. When you go into, I just noticed this, Jordan, when I went into Whole Foods Market, there's a lot of different fruits in there. If you actually take the time, peruse around, especially different things seasonally, there's a lot of different fruits. So, hey, get them, eat them. It's just good for your body to get some of these different antioxidants that Jordan's talking about, the anthocyanins, the ellagic acid, so many of the others. So, hey, try some different things. And it's just amazing too. When you and I both know, like different fruits have different actions on different organ systems. And you can always look up like pears are good for, like pears in Chinese medicine are really good for the lung and moistening your body. And, as Jordan's talking about, like grapes are incredible for your skin, of all these anti-cancer properties, the big muscadines with that. Think about it, it's got thick skin. What's that good for? It's good for your skin. So anyways, love this stuff, guys. I want to encourage you guys, just again, try a lot of these different superfruits that Jordan's talking about, and the fruits we have access to already, like the blackberries, the raspberries, and others. A lot of these high fiber fruits and pomegranates. Great recommendation. Jordan, I'm going to talk about, I know this is one you and I are so passionate about. In fact, we just did a whole training. You and I together trained a team on these, and it is mushrooms, right? So talk to me about the power of mushrooms, the history of mushrooms, and some of your favorite mushrooms and their benefits.
Mushrooms are part of the fungal kingdom. This is not a vegetable. It's not an herb. It's a kingdom unto itself. And fungi, such as medicinal or culinary fungi mushrooms, they're considered higher fungi, meaning they're not anywhere similar to a single-celled yeast. They're more genetically intelligent. And I think fungi are kind of the best of the plant and animal kingdom combined. We've heard of mushrooms like oyster mushrooms, portobello mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms. Those are either culinary with a bit of medicinal qualities. But when we're talking about powerhouses for the immune system, you got to talk about reishi, the mushroom of immortality. Lion's mane, probably the most important brain boosting food on the planet. Then you've got turkey tail, which is great for the immune system. You've got chaga, which is amazing for the skin and for longevity. The list literally goes on and on. We grow gourmet and medicinal mushrooms. We grow 17 different varieties, and I've never met a mushroom that I don't like. There's one that's really cool called, the Latin name is Phalinus linteus, and in Korea, that is their, quote, anti-cancer mushroom. If you want to have some fun and geek out, look up medicinal mushrooms, NCBI, and you'll see published medical articles on the amazing benefits of mushrooms. You can find them in your grocery or health food store, usually dried, kind of right near the sprouts on the end of the vegetable aisle, or in supplement form. Some don't taste great, like reishi is pretty bitter. Another one, cordyceps, is truly amazing for endurance. They don't taste wonderful, but they can be used in infusions or teas, made into soups, or taken as in supplement form. Everybody in this world would be better off consuming mushrooms. And some people say, well, I'm sensitive to yeast, I have candida. Mushrooms actually destroy candida, or they create compounds in your body that do. So typically they are highly usable by the body and cause very little allergic reaction.
Yeah, Jordan. So I know Chelsea and I, we use a lot of mushrooms. And so when we're cooking, we'll specifically look in the store, we'll buy a lot of maitake and shiitake. Those are available at a lot of, health food stores, or even certain regular grocery stores have started carrying shiitake as well. But shiitake and maitake, also things like wood ear mushrooms, black mushrooms, trumpet mushrooms. You can buy these. These are great to throw in a soup. They're great to stir fry up. And have with like a grass-fed burger or steak. So anyways, want to encourage you guys, anytime I've interviewed any experts in Asian medicine, one of the things they all seem to say is just eat as many mushrooms as possible. They kind of feel like mushrooms as they do about vegetables. We talk about, hey, eat lots of all kinds of different types of vegetables. They say the same thing. It's vegetables and it's lots of mushrooms there as well. And I want to just echo what Jordan said, just share what I do personally. I have reishi on hand, mushroom in a capsule form, that I just kind of take throughout the year. It's probably the one I take the most, along with a a mushroom supplement that has multiple types of different mushrooms. So I take that a lot personally too. If I'm really looking to support my brain, like maybe I'm working on writing a book, or I'm visualizing or doing something like that, then I'll take lion's mane, and I notice some improvements there. Or if I have something where I want to increase my endurance or support my lungs, then I'll take cordyceps. Like I love taking it for that. And then if I have something I've come down with, maybe like I feel like I've got a bug, that's when I take turkey tail mushroom, one of my favorites for that. So again, mushrooms have so many benefits, but number one, just get them in your diet and consider taking a regular mushroom supplement. I know I do, and I know Jordan does. In fact, if you would watch Jordan and I and see all of the supplements and things we take on a regular basis, you'd be like, wow, that is amazing. All right. Herbs and spices, Jordan. Let's talk about, what are some of your favorite herbs and spices on the planet and why?
Let's start with culinary. I was just talking about this today. I'm going to rifle through some of these culinary spices that are also medicinal. Horseradish is amazing, especially in the winter months to clear your sinuses. Yeah. Cayenne pepper used to be super popular. Literally, people would say if you're having a heart attack, you could take a little cayenne pepper under your tongue, and that circulatory benefit would literally stop a heart attack in its tracks. Onion, which is sort of a spice vegetable, I already talked about. Garlic, ginger, turmeric is one of my favorite. Josh, you're going to be excited about this, but we're in the process of planting some black turmeric or black ginger. They're not even sure which it is, but wow, it is so awesome. Not only are the rhizomes black, but you've got tinges of the dark color in the leaves. Galangal, we've talked about before, might be my favorite spice. It's sort of a cousin of ginger and turmeric. And then there's what we consider random culinary spices. Cinnamon, I can't say enough about. Cumin, whether it's the lighter or dark or black cumin, truly amazing. Nutmeg is amazing. Allspice is amazing. I'm going to go on and on. This is similar to what Josh said about vegetables and mushrooms. I believe when it comes to spices, each of us could consume about 10 times more every day. They're not only antioxidant, but they are powerful for the body. Clove is just one. I use clove every single day for my oral health. I just can't say enough about spices. We would do better to 10x our consumption every day. And then herbs, typical garden herbs, dill is awesome. Again, very misunderstood and just considered, oh, it's in my medicine cabinet, but dill's amazing. Rosemary is amazing. Parsley, which is a vegetable herb, is great for so many things. Marjoram and thyme, I'm not going to go there, Josh, with thyme, but thyme has a antimicrobial effect and is absolutely awesome. The list goes on and on. Holy basil is kind of a culinary medicinal. And we haven't even talked about the thousands of traditional Chinese herbs. You and I have been really on a faux tea kick lately. Faux tea is a botanical in traditional Chinese medicine, and it goes by the nickname to make a old man's gray head black again. That's a long nickname, but pretty awesome. And then we talk about things like black cohosh and dong quai and codonopsis. The world of herbs and spices is something that we need not be ignorant about. It is phenomenal. And in China and India and the Middle East, these substances are considered drugs without side effects. How amazing is that?
Yeah, Jordan. So I know one of the things we've talked about is ancient superfoods, but these are also ancient remedies. I know, you and I know one of the things I want to point out too, Jordan. So I wrote this book, Ancient Remedies. I know a lot of you guys are, you may have already ordered it and getting it here soon, but Jordan inspired so many parts of this book. And I've learned so much from Jordan over the years in terms of, herbal medicine and what to do for certain conditions. So anyways, want to encourage you guys, if you want to dive deeper and learn more about more of these ancient remedies, check out the new book, Ancient Remedies. You can go to Amazon.com and just search Dr. Axe Ancient Remedies and check out the book, and excited there for you guys to continue to dive deep and learn more. As Jordan's talking about these remedies, I just want to mention a few, rosemary. For example, people don't realize how anti-inflammatory it is, supports your hair growing more thick, actually has all these benefits for your immune system in your gut. So anyways, there's a lot of benefits there. And Jordan, by the way, has been referencing the farm that Jordan and I co-own together where we grow a lot of these things. So that's one of the things you may not know about Jordan. I should have said this to start. Jordan is a regenerative farmer. So Jordan And I own about 4,000 acres of land in Missouri, over about 1,000 or so in Tennessee, where Jordan goes out there on a regular basis, works with, we have a friend of ours, Todd, the fermented farmer, growing things like black turmeric and moringa and all these incredible superfoods. So again, Jordan is really on the cutting edge of growing a lot of these superfoods and us doing our best to also get these out to the masses so people can start to, support their body using these incredible superfoods we're talking about there as well. I want to just touch on just a few herbs and spices here. For gut health, I know Jordan and I love ginger and peppermint are fantastic for your immune system. We love things like elderberry and echinacea for both gut and immune system. I know we both love astragalus. For thyroid, ashwagandha is fantastic. But again, if you guys want to learn more, make sure to get Ancient Remedies. Jordan, one of the things I know that I read about, I remember this long time ago when I read your book, The Maker's Diet, and this is a while ago. I want to say this is probably 2006. So that was 15 years ago now. I started reading, you were talking about honey in there as being the sweetener that you use. And I know you took a trip to New Zealand, a little over a year ago, and you got turned on. I know started using even Manuka honey more. Talk to me about honey in general and also Manuka honey and why you love that as sort of a preferred natural sweetener over most of the other sweeteners out there today.
Honey is truly phenomenal, both topically and orally. And I was able not only to meet some really amazing growers of Manuka honey, but I met one of the world's experts in Manuka research, and he laid out to me 4 unique substances found in Manuka. It's talked about in terms of UMF. There's sort of sulfurated compounds, and they're amazing on contact to help with things such as ulcers, both internally and on the skin. And think about this, honey can last for 10,000 years. It literally is a preservative, and it destroys microorganisms by suffocating them. So when you have honey and it's not exposed to water or liquid, it is a powerful substance. They used to use it in many cultures to embalm people. That's how powerful it is. Honey obviously has sugar, but if you get raw, particularly unheated, darker honeys, and Manuka is just amazing in and of itself, but all honeys have benefits. And the honey is usually named for the flowers that the bees predominantly pollinate. So if you hear about orange blossom honey or clover honey, buckwheat honey or blueberry or raspberry honey, and in this case, Manuka honey, Manuka is a plant that grows really exclusively in New Zealand, and there are entire forests made of Manuka. And this is pretty cool, Josh. The group we went to, they're Maori indigenous New Zealanders, and they sometimes put hives in places where they have to be dropped from a helicopter to get to. But when you're surrounded by these pure Manuka trees, that's the only way you can get that Manuka honey. So it's rare, but it is becoming more available at health food and grocery stores. Look for Manuka honey when you have a cold or a flu. I love to take Manuka honey, put some drops of essential oils such as clove, cinnamon, orange, kind of like make your own cough syrup. It's a great carrier, but also it helps destroy bacteria, including strep, in your throat.
It's awesome. I know, quick story for everybody. Chelsea and I, Arwen started getting, and this is a lot of kids get this, but she started getting a little cradle cap on her head, and we put Manuka honey on there. Went away in 3 days. Completely gone in 3 days. It was amazing. Again, the powerful benefits, especially for your skin, burn victims, people with acne, just make a essential oil Manuka rub, put it on your skin for numerous health conditions. Anyways, it's a great thing to help heal your skin. And as Jordan mentioned, fight infection, strep throat. Love that. Jordan, a couple more categories I want to hit on. Next one up is probiotic rich foods. Why are probiotics important? What do they do for you? And what are some of your favorite probiotic rich foods?
Probiotics are your internal army. They're your special forces inside your gut. And when they get your gut right, your whole body is healthier. Think of these probiotics as your first line of defense to protect your gut from becoming leaky or sort of what they say, pervious to toxins. So when your gut becomes more like Swiss cheese than it is like cheddar, then certain toxins and chemicals seep through the gut into the bloodstream. Probiotics help to break down undigested foods in the digestive tract. They stimulate the immune system and fight the good fight for you. They are truly awesome for cleansing, for immune system support, and certainly for digestive challenges like constipation, et cetera. But when it comes to probiotic rich foods, I love fermented vegetables and beverages, fermented dairy products. But when it comes to fermented veggies, here's a potent punch that you can consume. It's not punch at all. It's kimchi, which is Korean cultured veggies. And it's pretty spicy. I've got some in my fridge. It's usually a combination of cabbage, various kinds, a couple other vegetables, but usually some type of hot pepper. And it is used as a condiment in Korea. And it actually helps you digest your food, produce more hydrochloric acid, contains probiotics, enzymes, lots of vitamin C. It is really awesome. And then just plain old sauerkraut, which is German cultured veggies, is loaded with a probiotic called Lactobacillus plantarum that is naturally found on cabbage. And get this, cabbage is good. Sauerkraut produced the right way, raw fermented, is great. It is actually 4 times more potent in fighting cancer than the cabbage it came from. When it comes to dairy products, the right produced kefir yogurt. Josh, I'm pretty excited. You know how I geek out about this. I'm getting some water buffalo yogurt tomorrow and some sheep milk yogurt. I'll be like a kid in a health food store. These things excite me. I know I'm the only person on the planet probably, but cultured dairy products from animals that I like to call them A2. They're more likely to produce dairy that's friendly to the human body. And then from a beverage perspective, kombucha, water, kefir, kvass are good, but man, raw vinegars are pretty amazing. Apple cider vinegar was introduced in the 1920s in a popular book called Folk Medicine by Dr. Jarvis. And it's more popular today than ever. Josh, my 17-year-old daughter takes apple cider vinegar shots before meals because people she follows on Instagram use it. And she thinks that an Instagrammer invented it, but this is like never going away.
She doesn't know her dad invented it practically.
Yeah. It is great topically. It's great orally. It's affordable. And we're using a lot of apple cider vinegar to create some really cool innovations. But talk about something that's great for your hair, your skin, your body, your digestion, your joints. Apple cider vinegar is just awesome.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier this water buffalo yogurt, right? Or kefir? Yogurt. So I told you this the other day, but just for everybody else. So we started watching VeggieTales with our daughter. She loves them. And so
finally,
one of her one of her favorite songs, of course, is the she can't say it yet, but she just loves VeggieTales. But everybody loves a water buffalo.
Everybody's got a water buffalo. Yeah, I was when I first brought my water buffalo. We have several hundred now, but our first batch of water buffalo, when we brought them to the farm, that was all I could think about the whole time. I never thought about it from watching that I would one day have a water buffalo, but I do. So water buffalo is actually, we'll talk about this another time, but I'm going to go on Ben Greenfield's podcast to talk about water buffalo, but I believe that they're probably the most important animal in the world to domesticate, and they should replace cows in America as the prime source of meat and milk. And it's not going to happen quickly because there's about 6,000 water buffalo in America and 97 million cows. So
wow,
we got a long way to go.
I love it. All right, last one here, Jordan. This is critical. Healthy fats. What are some of your favorite sources of healthy fats people should be getting and why? I know you mentioned avocado. Feel free to mention it again, but what are some of those that are so important and why?
I think egg yolk is super healthy. If you think about it, there are fats that we know about, omega-3s, omega-6s, but there are also phospholipids such as choline, phosphatidylserine, lecithin. Those are all great for metabolizing fat. And I have been on a huge duck egg kick for years now. So I try to consume more duck and goose eggs than I do chicken eggs. And it's, Josh, you're going to love this. I purchased preserved duck eggs from an Asian market recently. The yolks are literally black. It's like a fermented duck egg. And the label actually has a girl riding a water buffalo. I should have brought some images here. But and you've heard of century eggs in China where they bury an egg for 25 years and then eat it. It's hard as a rock. But anyway, egg yolks are great. You mentioned avocado. Olives are pretty awesome and not talked about enough. Olive oil's talked about, but olives are a great source of antioxidants. The olive fruit itself, great source of fats. Almonds are a wonderful source of fats, probably the best nut. And then from a seed perspective, Chia and flax are great sources of plant-based omegas, really, really awesome. And then I think animal foods are a great source of fat. Sockeye salmon is one of the best sources of omega-3s, plus antioxidants. And then we talked about liver. It's interesting. Years ago, there was a diet that said arachidonic acid, which is a long-chain fat in liver and a lot of animal foods, was bad for you. I actually think arachidonic acid in a natural form is great for the brain and the cells. And you get that in large amounts in liver.
Yeah, I love it. So I want to encourage you guys again. Hey, check out, consume more of these healthy fats Jordan and I talked about. People are consuming way too many carbohydrates. Some of these fats have really incredible nutrients. And again, egg yolks, so many benefits there. As Jordan talked about, sockeye salmon has loads and loads of omega-3s, so get more of those as well. So we covered the top 10 categories of superfoods you should be getting in your diet. And I've been on here with, again, Jordan Rubin. And just as a little background, I just want to say a little bit more about Jordan. Jordan is the co-founder of Ancient Nutrition. He also is an expert in formulation of supplements, and he is I think one of the greatest experts I've ever met when it comes to regenerative agriculture at his farms that him and I co-own, but he really leads and owns the majority of in Missouri and Tennessee. He's growing moringa and elderberry and all these amazing superfoods out there as well. And then also practicing, raising water buffalo and, zebu, or, Brahma bulls and yaks and all these amazing foods. So anyways, Jordan is really focused on healing the planet. He's got a couple great books out. He's got a book out, The Maker's Diet, but also, Jordan, I know a book, Planet Heal Thyself, which is really awesome. So Jordan really is on a mission as well to help feed impoverished people around the world and really help people heal with these amazing superfoods. And you can learn more about Jordan as well by just searching Jordan Rubin on Amazon. He's written over 20 books. Okay. So if you go to Amazon and just search Jordan Rubin, he's written so many books. You can also check out more about him at ancientnutrition.com. Again, that's ancientnutrition.com. I want to say, Jordan, thanks. I know I'll probably see it, in the next few days. Jordan and I work together all the time. Jordan is one of my closest friends. And I couldn't say any more about his character and him as a person. He is a world changer and a great friend. I want to say, Jordan, hey, thanks so much for coming on today.
It's been a blast.
Awesome. Thanks everybody for listening. I want to encourage you guys this week, remember, use food as medicine.
This podcast is for information purposes only. Statements and views expressed in this podcast are not medical advice and have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. In some cases, individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein.